was 7th and 8th grade, and when I came here, I found
My name is Jalen Stocklin. I'm a senior here at Stone High School, and I play football. Back when, in 2005, my older brother started playing football, and I got jealous because I used to like to do the things he did. So I signed up, but they said I was too young, so I had to wait next year, so that just driven me a lot more. That's when I started. I play linebacker and fullback. If I had to pick a favorite, it would be linebacker because I get to be more aggressive on the field and make more tackles, and I'm more in charge of the defense that I'm responsible for. Some challenges of being a linebacker, first of all, is being able to play physical enough with the defense or offensive linemen, and also being able to catch up with the receivers and running off the back. Oh, I love playing fullback as well. Just it's a little more challenging too because it changes the whole move between linebacker and fullback opposite. Instead of trying to be the one destroying the ball and protecting it now, and I have to do whatever I can to protect our quarterback and running backs. Oh man, I'm loving the team this year. We still have that family bond that we've been trying to maintain. I love it. They're a wild bunch. They're always ready to go. There's something after the game. One thing I've learned from Coach Rogers about high school stick with me after I leave high school is adversity, that we're always going to face it, but the type of man you are is shown by how you act upon it and letting it get to you or overcoming it.
Jalen is a four-year player for us. He's been everything that you can ask for from a captain here. He's a two-year captain for us. Just a really great kid. We use him at fullback on offense. He does a lot of the dirty work. He doesn't get a lot of the credit for that. On defense, he's one of the leaders on defense. He flies around, makes plays. He does a lot of stuff in the community, and he's a standout there as well on the football field and in the classroom.
So outside of football, I'm also still a varsity wrestler and a varsity track athlete. I'm involved in Chamber Choir, the Best Buddy Organization, Christian Club, Chamber Choir Club, Fitness Club, Success Club, and Reformers in Action. I'm also the president of that club. My overall GPA is a 3.35 right now, and my goal is to go to college and major in justice and corrections. Some advice, especially coming home, I would give someone trying to push towards here is not be afraid to fail. If you fail multiple times in these last 4 years, you can't let that happen.
My name is Kiara White. I play basketball and I run track and field, and I go to San Gorgonio High School. I run the 100, the 200, the 4x1, and then recently started jumping. And my two favorite are the 4x1 and the 100 because I like the team that I'm with for my 4x1, and I like the competition that I have for the 100. Some of the things I generally do in practice is a lot of drills, a lot of stretching, and a lot of motivating because it's a team sport essentially, so you got to help your teammates as well. To improve my running, I do a lot of weight training, and I'm trying to get a little better in blocks so I can start my starts better. I love my 4x1 team because it's my sister, It's my friend Kiara, who I've been running with for 3 years, and then it's JJ, who's new, and she catches on fast. And some things the 4x1 needs to improve is our steps and our determination to want to get better. The 100 event really wasn't supposed to be my strong suit. My freshman year, I came in, and the 200 was my fastest event. And then I got switched over to the 100 and had to adjust to it. So as a freshman, I was running 25s for the 200, and then in the 100 running like 13s. And then I ended up becoming 6th in IE championships for the 100. And then that changed everything, and I ended up working on my 100 and becoming better and better, and now I run a 12.3. Junkie, as a head coach, is one of the best head coaches I've had because he's about unity. He makes sure that everyone gets stuff done and not just a certain group. So I like that he incorporates everyone and gets everybody settled down.
Kiara's a great young lady. She's one of those hardworking athletes that you can say that about a lot of kids, but she's one of those that since her freshman year, she's really been dedicated. Track's like her love. She came in the off season really early on to start getting in shape, really start fine tuning her skills, and then with her expectations of she really wants to be the fastest sprinter, which she is. And on top of that, this year we needed long jumpers, so we asked her to learn a new skill. And she jumped right in and did it. So she's one of those good kids that's really physically talented, mentally driven, emotionally stable to really take on a lot of challenges and keep persevering, which she's done all year long and been extremely successful at it.
The advice I would give to someone running track or coming to sports would be coachable. Take some advice and actually execute what your coaches are saying, because 9 times out of 10 they're right. I currently have a 3.6. I average about a 3.0 throughout season for both semesters. And when I graduate high school, I immediately want to go to college and study for business because I want to be an entrepreneur. The most influential people in my life would have to be my family, because without them, I think I wouldn't have even made it this far without support or without motivation.
My name is Manuel, and I attend Indian Springs High School, and I'm a senior. My friends convinced me to come out here and play, so I gave it a try my sophomore year, and then ever since that, I've been playing. I play middle for when I'm in the front, but after that, I rotate around the whole backcourt, and then what I like about it is that I get a spike on people. It feels good, it's a good vibe that you get from spiking on people. Some of the challenges on playing front row is that you have to block people, so it's kind of hard because sometimes you have to take a step in because they hit outside or line, and it's kind of hard. On defense, it's hard because sometimes you don't know where you're at, so you just misplace your footing, and then it's kind of hard getting back down to it. Every day we start our practices with warming up. And then after that, we get serves in for a couple of minutes. Then we bump set spike, and then after that, it's whatever our coach tells us that we need to practice on before playing our rival the next day. Well, Coach Arian doesn't just want us to be strong at one point. He wants us to be able to play around the whole full court. So he doesn't want us to just, if we're really good at spiking, he just doesn't want us to be really good at spiking. He wants us really good at digging, passing, setting, all-around player.
This year, we obviously went 12-0 in league and 20-2 overall. Last year, we went 12-0 in league as well. But this year is a little different because we actually in the San Andreas League. Last year, we were in a little weaker league. So this was kind of our way of saying, yeah, we should have been there in the playoffs, and we did really, really well. Well, Manny started off as a soccer player and transitioned into a volleyball player. We started him off actually JV 2 years ago, and within 3 or 4 games he was already hitting on the varsity level. So he grew from there. He should have been MVP last year of the league, and really grew even more this year and became one of those dominant.
Thank you for joining us this evening. I ask you to please silence your cell phones and any other electronics and refrain from creating any disruptive sounds. At this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Ray Turner to come forward to the podium from Temple Missionary Baptist Church. He will lead us in the invocation. If we could all please stand.
Let us pray. Father, we welcome your presence in these chambers today. And Lord, in spite of the recent tragedy, Lord, we still have our faith and our trust in you, knowing, God, that you care for us. And Lord, that the enemy intended for evil, God, you used it to your glory. Because, God, we saw the first responders, we saw the school district, we saw the religious community, we saw the volunteers all come together in unity, Lord, to address a most tragic situation. And, Lord, my prayer is that we not have to have a tragedy in order to experience that unity, Lord. My prayer, God, that this entire community would have a heart, Lord, to be unified in the situation, in the business dealing of this city. And even as the chamber, the council come together today, Lord, to take care of the business of the city, Lord, I pray that you would give them wisdom, Lord. I pray, Father, that you would allow them to set aside any personal agendas or any political issues, and, Father, that they would make decisions based on what's best for the community. And, Lord, I pray for the community, Lord, because we tend to put pressure on our council people to do our bidding. And, Father, we need to come together and look at what's best for the city of San Bernardino. So I pray that we all will set our personal agendas aside. We are San Bernardino strong, but we can be even stronger, Lord, when we put you in the forefront of all that we do and say. So I ask your blessings on the council today. I ask your blessings on those who will be giving comments. I pray, God, that they would be considerate of all involved, that, Father, that we would want to do what's best for the entire community and not just for our corner of the city. So bless our time together, and we'll be quick to give you all the praise and glory. And it's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Turner. This time, we will now turn the time over to the Boy Scout Troop, Inland Empire Council, Arrowhead District, Troop 1. They will present the colors for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Color Guard, post colors. May the audience please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the Star Spangled Banner performed by the Estrella family. Color guard, regroup. Color guard, about face. Color guard, forward march.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Turner, and thank you, Troop 1. Our first presentation tonight is a recognition of the students that participated in this week's Mayor's Youth Academy pilot program. I'd like to invite Kenya Gomez to come forward, and Alma Salgado and Michael Robledo. Is Jamie Rios here? He's not here? All right. You'll come forward. This past week, I had the opportunity to invite these three students to shadow the mayor at the airport, and they attended the IVDA meeting, and they also had an opportunity to get in a helicopter and play with the controls, and just giving them an opportunity to see how business is conducted at the municipal level. And so this certificate of recognition is to Michael Robledo in recognition of your participation in the Youth Academy. I commend you for your effort and hope the experience helped to pave a clear path to your career and educational goals. Best wishes in all your future endeavors. And also, we have from Assemblymember Mark Steinort's office a recognition of your attendance in that also. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
I'd like to thank the mayor for this opportunity and my Law and Society teacher, Mr. Wingo, for making it possible.
Kenya Gomez. Also, Kenya was one of those who participated, and very excited for the work that she's doing in her school. The school that is being represented is San Bernardino High School. And so, Kenya, in recognition of your participation in the Youth Academy, I commend you also for your efforts and hope the experience helped to pave a way, a clear path to your career and educational goals. Best wishes to you and your future endeavors. Thank you for participating.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I, first of all, want to appreciate the mayor so much for an opportunity of having us here, not just me, but my fellow peers, to represent San Bernardino High School, which is at times seen very poor. And we're just very proud to be here and present San Bernardino because we are great and we will always be great. We are the best, the very, very best. I also want to appreciate my Law and Society teacher who made it very possible for us to be here, Ms. Gutierrez, my principal, and Jamie Rios for the transportation. But I also want to appreciate you all for having us here and giving this life opportunity that I hope will continue on and give other students an opportunity to see what it's like in real life, to visualize and actually be out here and working with one of you. It's just amazing, one in a lifetime. And you guys are making hope happen. That is what we want to do also. Thank you.
Alma Salgado. I'll read Assemblymember Steinor's certificate in honor of your outstanding leadership and dedication in the Mayor's Youth Mentorship Program. Your commitment to the City of San Bernardino through your service has not only benefited the community, but the state as a whole. Congratulations and thank you for your hard work. Alma?
Good afternoon. I just want to say thank you to the mayor for letting us be here and having this opportunity. Thank you to Mr. Wingo and to Jamie. Thank you to all of you guys. Honestly, thank you.
Margaret Hill. This next presentation is a proclamation naming April 29th as Day of Service. We thank Margaret Hill. She's been a part of that program and has been working together with the other members of our community to put this together to help us with Second Park and Pioneer Cemetery on April 29th. It will be a day of service. I believe it starts at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock.
Registration between 7 and by 8. We hope everyone will have a pair of gloves on or a shovel in their hand and ready to go.
Thank you. So this proclamation of the Mayor and City Council National Service Recognition Day. National Service Recognition. Now, therefore, the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino do hereby proclaim April 29, 2017 as National Service Recognition Day and encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of national service in our city. We thank those who serve, and we ask that you may continue to find ways to give back to our communities. Presented this 17th day of April 2017. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and others who work for the City of San Bernardino. If we have any members of the Service Council of San Bernardino, would you please stand? But let me tell you how all of you can become members. August the 29th, we will clean up this city. We, in coordination in partnership, actually, with California State University, will have over 1,000 people out in the streets. But we are primarily dedicating our time to the Pioneer Cemetery and parts of Second Lake and maybe some parts of the Little League field. But that's our annual project. We started our service council last year. The late Pastor George Hahn was there to lead us. When he passed, some kind of way I was designated the president. So I'm just going to ask you to join us, come out and help us clean up our city. And if you do not live here, and if you don't, I'm sure you're saying to yourselves, I don't live in San Bernardino. Wherever you live, I'm sure you can find some trash hanging around on the streets. Go out and clean it up. And if you can't join us, someplace in your neighborhood, take a black trash bag and pick up at least one bag of trash. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council.
Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Councilmember Benito Barrios to present the Student of the Month.
Good evening, everyone. It's always a privilege to come up here to recognize one of our youth that are doing amazing things in the school and looking like they're going to have a very, very bright future. And today, I want to talk about a young man who was born in San Bernardino. For a short time afterwards, he moved to the state of Arkansas. He returned to California as an 11th grade student and will graduate this year in June of 2017. His family members are his mother, Monique Graham, who works in the nursing field. His sister, Dariel, lives in Arkansas. And Candy Evans, his other sister, is 10, a 10th grade student at Pacific. His brother, Junior, is living in Arkansas as well. Kayjuan is living and working in San Jacinto, and his younger brother, Lamont Evans, is in the 11th grade at Pacific High School. His dog, Hennessy, is a Chihuahua. And this gentleman, better known as Tony, participates in a number of school activities. He receives tutoring and mentoring from the BLU Educational Foundation. He plays basketball and football and was a team captain for both. His favorite subject is English, and he has a 3.31 grade point average and plans to attend Santiago Canyon Community College, and when he begins his training for certification as a physical therapist. The student was recognized in Monday's February 13th, 2017 San Bernardino Sun newspaper as the Boys Athlete of the Week for Pacific High School basketball. He wants all the students to know that whatever you set your mind to, you must believe you can do it. You won't be successful unless you try. So for this month's Student of the Month, please put your hands together for Mr. Anthony Evans. And also his certificate.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank Council Member Mr. Barrios and Mayor Davis for giving me this opportunity to win this award. It's great to be to have this feeling to be Student of the Month. It doesn't come usual for me. I would also like to thank Ms. Margaret Hill and Ms. Raimundo Mas, high school principal at Pacific High School, for recognizing me to win this award. And I also would like to thank the staff and teachers at my high school, and I would like to thank my friends and my family, my mom and her boyfriend, for the support and encouragement that I needed for this year, my last high school year. And it's a blessing to win this award. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Barrios. Next, I'd like to invite Councilmember Nickel to the podium. Presentation of Citizen of the Month.
Well, the lessons of history teach us not only who we were, but also who we can be. 75 years ago, San Bernardino answered the call to serve a nation and a world in peril. The base began as a municipal airport under the Army Air Corps jurisdiction. During the summer of 1941, it became a training base to meet the needs of the 30,000 pilot training program. In December 1941, within days after the attack on Pearl Harbor, combat-ready fighter planes arrived to protect the Los Angeles area from enemy attack. In July 1942, the airport was renamed the San Bernardino Army Airfield, and the San Bernardino Air Depot was established. The facility's primary function was the repair and maintenance of aircraft. During the war, the Air Transport Command used the field, and in 1943, maintenance operations for gas turbine engines were added. After World War II, the base became one of 3 major maintenance facilities for jet engines in the United States. The base was transferred to the U.S. Air Force in 1948, and in 1950 was renamed Norton Air Force Base after Captain Leland Norton, a World War II bomber pilot who ordered the crew of his crippled plane to bail out over France just before perishing with the craft. Operations at Norton were expanded to include maintenance, storage, and logistics support for various missile programs. In 1966, Norton Air Force Base became the home for the 63rd Military Airlift Wing. This provided airlift and food services to air and ground combat units worldwide. It was also headquarters for the Aerospace Audiovisual Services, which was established at Norton Air Force Base in 1966 to provide audiovisual services to the Air Force and all departments of defense agencies. Norton Air Force Base also has housed numerous tenant organizations, including Air Force Inspection and Safety Center Headquarters, Air Force Audit Agency Headquarters, Military Airlift Command, Non-Commissioned Officer Academy West, and the Ballistic Missile Organization. The base was selected for closure by the Base Realignment and Closure Commission in 1988 and closed on March 31, 1994. The Norton Air Force Base Museum was made possible through the generosity of the Inland Valley Development Agency. The museum opened its doors 4 years ago. It is located within the former, yet remodeled NCO Club building. The Norton Air Force Base Museum has continually been improved and grown into an attraction here within the Inland Empire. The 63rd 445th Norton Veterans Group Memorial is also located just outside the museum, and it too is ever expanding and improving as those who still serve or have served our military are remembered. Thanks to the museum's volunteer board and staff, this symbol of our city's proud heritage of sacrifice and service will not be forgotten. It is my honor to introduce and recognize the volunteers of the Norton Air Force Base Museum as this month's Citizens of the Month. If you could please rise and come forward. And I will recognize those in attendance. And you'll get a certificate and a pin. Okay, I would first like to recognize the entire Norton Air Force Base Museum Volunteer Board for your service. So this is for the entire board. Thank you. I would next like to recognize Mr. Bob Edwards, President of the Norton Air Force Base Museum Volunteer Board. Congratulations. Next, I would like to recognize Mr. Mike Parkerson, Vice President of the Norton Air Force Base Museum Volunteer Board. Thank you, sir. Next, Gil Venegas. Oh, Gil is not here. Okay. Okay. Miss Jane Snedden, Treasurer of the Board. Mr. R.C. Grant, Board Member. Not here, okay. Mr. Art Lamoth. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir, for your service. Mr. Billy Mitchell, board member. It's a great name. That's a good name. There you go, sir.
Thank you, sir.
There's your pen. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And Mr. Robert Turner, board member. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm missing one. Let's see. Which one am I missing? Which one? Are we missing one? Okay. Okay. We will get you.
That's fine. That's fine.
What's your name, sir? Mary Jacob. All right. Thank you for your service, and thank you again for preserving our heritage of the Norton Air Force Space Museum. Thank you.
Gentlemen, come forward.
Thank you, Councilman Nichol. Next, we'd like to invite Leslie Stevens from the Chamber to come forward with announcements.
Hello, it's a great day in San Bernardino. I'm Leslie Stevens. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at the San Bernardino Residence Inn by Marriott. And the hotel industry is absolutely thriving. Everybody's sold out this week. So if you want to stay in San Bernardino, it's going to be difficult. And so we love that our community in the hospitality industry is thriving. Baseball season continues at our beautiful San Manuel Stadium with a number of Inland Empire 66er home games on April 17th, 18th, 20th, and 28th at 7:05. Please come out and support us. The Chamber's regular Wednesday coffee clash meetings take place at 7:30 a.m. at the Chamber offices with Gabby Rubio of the National Orange Show presenting the National Orange Show Fair Parade on Wednesday, April the 19th, and David will be talking about the Veterans Garden on April the 26th. Join us for the monthly Chamber networking lunch this Wednesday at 11:30, which will be held at Chili's on 475 East Hospitality Lane. This is a great way for businesses, nonprofits, and governments at all levels to network in an informal setting with no agenda, so come out and join us. Talking of food, don't forget about the city sponsor, Share Market and Food Truck Fest on Thursday, April 20th at Court Street Square, where a fabulous array of gourmet foods and trucks will be on hand to tempt you. On Friday evening, April 21st, beginning at 4 p.m., the Carousel Mall, and continuing through Saturday will be the San Bernardino City Art Night. Please join us for that. Call 387-5057 for details and the venue. On Saturday, April 22nd at 9:30 at the National Orange Show, we have a matinee performance of the Assistant League's Headdress Ball, and then at 5 p.m., the Glittering Gala takes place. On the same night at 7 p.m. at the California Theater of Performing Arts, we have Legends of Rhythm and Blues, presented by Affordable Music Productions and feature Little Anthony and the Imperials. The Chamber monthly business after-hour mixer will take place at Pepe's Towing Service at 1303 Victoria Avenue. Everyone welcome for cocktail hour of networking, mixing, and family fun. On April 29th, we have the San Bernardino County CASA Heart of a Hero Run at Glen Helen Regional Park. Call 881-6760 for more details. Have 2 great weeks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stevens. We appreciate your input. And next, we have Roxana Garcia from the Assembly Member Eloise Reyes.
Hello, good afternoon, members of the council and Honorable Mayor Carrie Davis. It is an honor to be here today, and I'm very happy to hear that the hotels here in the city are thriving. It really makes me feel really happy to be a part of this community, and also with this economic development. So with that, I wanted to take a second to also to say thank you to the mayor for being so responsive last week after the incident at North Park Elementary, and also the council members. To see the community coming together like that, it really warmed my heart, and it made me very, very proud to be in attendance to the vigils and the community meetings and the press conferences, to see that everybody was so, that sense of community, you really felt it, and I want to say thank you so much for that. We're very appreciative at the Assembly Member's Office. I wanted to make a couple announcements of some upcoming events that we're having in the community in the next couple of weeks. First, we've been in office up and running about 3.5 months now, and this next Friday, I'm very happy to report that we are going to be having a community coffee where the Assembly Member is going to be sharing some legislative updates of some of the pieces of legislation that she's introduced in the last 2 months. So they've been very, very busy. In the next 2 weeks, they have to get all of the pieces of legislation out of the original House of Origin to go into the policy committees, so the appropriations. So they're very busy in Sacramento, but we're also very busy here in the district trying to put together really important events that are going to benefit the constituents of ours. And next Friday, we're going to be having a community coffee at the Ann Sherrills Park Community Center in collaboration with United Nations of Consciousness. And please, we invite everybody to come out and hear some of the updates of the Assembly Member. And that's going to be April 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. And also, in kind of following up the economic development and trying to inspire people to in our district to further their economic dreams, or we wanted to bring a conference together for home ownership. So we're going to be having a series of workshops next Saturday, April 29th, where we're going to be trying to bring basics about money management, credit education, mortgage loan process, and the Realtors Association. There's going to be different types of workshops. So basically anybody that comes can leave that day knowing exactly the steps that they have to take to become a homeowner. And that's going to be on next Saturday from 9 a.m. at the Fontana Steelworkers Auditorium. I've brought extra flyers, and I'll be leaving them in the front, so if anybody's interested, please take them. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Our next presentation will be the hometown military banners. We have 11 military banners being unveiled this evening. I'd like to thank the ad hoc committee led by Councilmember Marquez and Councilmember Fred Charette and Councilmember Valdivia for all your hard work and effort. At this time, I'd like to call forward Mitch Cochran, who will be leading us in this presentation this evening. Thank you.
Super. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and guests. It's really a privilege to be here this evening. Most people have not heard of the California State Military Reserve, which I am a member. As part of the National Guard, we provide a supplemental force at no cost to the state. Our volunteers provide medical services, legal services, and other support to the National Guard units, such as security, logistics, firearms training, specialized training such as Humvee driving, and communications. We have a mission to provide support to civil authorities as well. We have sent resources years ago to the San Diego wildfires, the San Francisco bridge collapse, but more recently, we provided logistics support to the National Guard when they provided and had the mission for logistics for California Special Olympics. But tonight, we celebrate our hometown heroes. The City of San Bernardino is proud to unveil our 11th rollout of the Hometown Heroes Military Banner Program. These rollouts honor military personnel who are currently serving on active duty in the United States Armed Forces. This is our way to honor those who continually place their lives in harm's way to protect the freedom we enjoy. These personalized banners are displayed on light poles up and down major streets throughout our city in their honor. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the Hometown Heroes Military Banner Committee members, Councilmember Virginia Marquez as our chair, Councilmember Fred Charette, Mayor Pro Tem John Valdivia. Others include the Department of Information Technology, City Attorney's Office, City Manager's Office, Department of Public Works, Department of Parks and Recreation, Council's office staff, and our printer, Out of Box Enterprises and R81 Wraps. Our Hometown Heroes program had its roots, which date back to World War I. In World War I, families would put out a service flag, recognizing the family had members serving overseas. The banner had a blue star on a white background with a red border. If the family had 2 members overseas, then the banner would have 2 stars. Some banners had 3 stars. The flags became known as the Blue Star Program. There are support for programs for the families such as Blue Star Mothers. City of San Bernardino has 3 flags with gold stars. The Gold Star recognizes service members that made the supreme sacrifice while on duty. These flags are located on the Del Rosa. And first is Jesus Lopez, 2012, Michael Copley, 2011, and Timothy D. Watkins, 2005. So please join me in a moment of silence to recognize their sacrifice for our community and our country. Thank you. In honor of our military personnel, let me introduce the Estrella family who will perform God Bless America. Thank you. Councilmember Marquez, please join me to present the flags and plaques of recognition. Tonight we have 66 Hometown Hero banners on display, but we get the privilege of adding 9 banners this evening. So, and as well, tonight we honor members of Army, Navy, the Marine Corps, and Air Force. So let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present Hometown Hero Private First Class Jason Barajas, United States Army. A graduate of Citrus Valley High School, Private First Class Barajas enlisted in July of 2016 and is currently stationed in San Antonio, Texas. His proud parents are Bertha Sines and Joe Barajas. Hometown Hero Private First Class Jason Barajas, United States Army. Can the family please join us up here? Super. Thank you. And there will be time later to take additional photos. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero Private Amanda Cortez, United States Army. A graduate of San Gorgonio High School, Private Cortez enlisted in February of 2016 and is presently stationed at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Her proud parents and grandparents are Christopher and Kathy Cortez and Jesse and Mary Cortez. Hometown hero Private Amanda Cortez. Family, please join us. Super, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero Lieutenant Christopher Andrew Elizade, United States Navy. Family, please join us. A graduate of Arroyo Valley High School, Lieutenant Elizade enlisted in September of 2015 and is presently stationed in Virginia. His proud parents are Juan and Sandra Moreno. Hometown hero, Lieutenant Christopher Andrew Elizade. And it happens to be his birthday today. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero Private First Class Emilio Flores, United States Army. Family, come on down. A graduate of Citrus Valley High School, Private First Class Flores enlisted in March of 2016 and is presently stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. His proud parents and grandparents are Emilio Flores and Nicole Mann, Rosie Madrid, and Becky Mann. Hometown hero, Private First Class Emilio Flores, United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero Sergeant Michael Garcia, United States Marine Corps. The family, come on down. A graduate of San Gorgonio High School, Sergeant Garcia enlisted in June of 2010 and is presently stationed in the Persian Gulf. His proud parents and grandparents are Christopher and Kathy Cortez and Jesse and Mary Cortez. Hometown hero, Sergeant Michael Garcia, United States Marine Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero, Staff Sergeant Sherelle Littlefield Rojas, United States Air Force. Can the family come join us? A graduate of Arroyo Valley High School, Staff Sergeant Littlefield Rojas enlisted in July of 2010 and is presently stationed at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. Her proud family is her mom, Councilmember Basine Richard, and her brothers, Joseph Richard and Cameron Presley. Hometown hero, Staff Sergeant Sherelle Littlefield Rojas, United States Air Force. As you can see, the room is filling up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero Private First Class Dominic Sines, United States Marine Corps. The family, please join us. A graduate of Orangewood High School, Private First Class Sines, enlisted in May of 2016 and is presently stationed in Okinawa, Japan. His proud parents are Angela and Servando Sines, hometown hero, Private First Class Dominic Sines, United States Marine Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero Corporal Michael Valenzuela, the United States Army. The family and Michael, please join us. A graduate of Royal Valley High School, Corporal Valenzuela enlisted in March of 2013 and is presently stationed at Fort Lewis in Washington. His proud parents are Carmen Cachopara and Alberto Valenzuela. Hometown hero Corporal Michael Valenzuela, United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present hometown hero Captain Philip Vasquez, United States Army. Come on down and join us, please. A graduate of Yucaipa High School and Cal State University San Bernardino, Captain Vasquez enlisted in August of 1999 and is presently stationed in San Bernardino. His proud wife and family are Alma Vasquez, children Isabel and Ismael, and his parents Richard and Elizabeth Isaacs. Hometown hero Captain Philip Vasquez, United States Army. The locations for these flags will be selected over the next few weeks. An interactive map of all the banners can be found online at the city's website. Look at How Do I City Maps or on the City Council page. Select the Military Banner Program. I'd also like to thank the following sponsors for support of this program. San Bernardino County Firefighters, number 935. Aegis Builders Incorporated. Best Market, Greg Villanueva, James Smith, Andrew Machen, and Urban Futures. If you're interested in becoming sponsors, please contact the council office at area code 909-384-5188. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Estrella family, a wonderful and talented family that's been providing the songs for us this evening. Kathleen Estrella, Director of Youth and Music at Our Lady of Assumption Catholic Church. Okay. Kiara Estrella, she graduated from Cal State University San Bernardino in 2016 with a double major in biology and biochemistry. She is currently the middle school science teacher at Sacred Heart in Rancho, and she's been accepted in the bioengineering master's program at UC Riverside. And then we have Kate. Then we have Kayra Estrella as well, senior and executive student body president at Aquinas High School. She has also been named valedictorian for her graduate class and accepted and received scholarships to University of San Diego, Loyola Marymount, and UCLA. Okay? That is an achievement. Then we have our soloist, Xander Estrella, in the second grade at Our Lady Assumption Catholic School and is on the honor roll. He is receiving his first communion on May 6th. So let's give them a warm round of applause. They conclude our ceremony with Proud to be an American.
I would for my life, and I had to stop. 'cause this flag still stands for freedom, and it can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their life for me. And I'll proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from the sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's a pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I'll proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave their right to me. And I'll proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you for allowing me to be part of the program. In closing, I'd like to call up Mayor Davis for closing remarks.
Thank you, Mitch, and thank you, Councilmember Marquez and the other members of the ad hoc committee. Indeed, this is one of my favorite council meetings each year, to take the time and honor those who have put themselves on the front lines. None of these members of the military know when they may be called up to serve, and they have committed themselves, if necessary, to make that ultimate sacrifice. We're grateful for them, grateful for former council member Ricky Van Johnson, who started this program, and Councilmember Marquez, that continues to make sure that we do this every year. So thank each of you. I'd like to thank also our council members that sit on the dais, who have been former members of our military, Councilmember Charette, Councilmember Barrios, and Councilmember Mulvihill. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your attendance. We will take a 10-minute break. We have cookies and punch out in the lobby. Thank you very much. We will go ahead and get started. Thank you, and once again, we thank Councilmember Marquez and the ad hoc team for putting together the military banners. I'd like to take a moment and report out on the meeting that I had with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. There's a Mayor's Institute on City Design that was put forward, and I had an opportunity to attend that March 22nd through March 24th. That was put together by the Mayor's Institute on City Design, the Executive Director, Trinity Simons, and Jeff Jamawat, Program Director. It's also in collaboration with the National Endowment of the Arts, Jason Schupak, and the U.S. Conference of Mayors, CEO and Executive Director, Tom Cochran. I had the opportunity to be part of the Mayor's Institute, and the mayors that attended that were the mayors from Garland, Texas, Davenport, Iowa, Juneau, Alaska, Springfield, Illinois, Columbus, Indiana, Olympia, Washington, and Alexandria, Virginia. They assembled a resource team that had included experts throughout the country. David Brown, Executive Vice President and Chief Preservation Officer for the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Gregory Haley, who was with Grimshaw Architects of New York City. Mia Lair, who's a landscape architect in Los Angeles. Kennedy Smith, who's the principal for Community Land and Economic Group from Arlington, Virginia. Julie Snow is the principal of Snow Krylak Architects from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Michael Stevens, president of Capitol Riverfront Business Improvement District from Washington, D.C. And Stan Wall, who's a partner with HRNA Advisors from Washington, D.C. And Megan Weir, who's a senior associate with Nelson Nygaard in San Francisco. The Institute has been going on for 30 years. It was established by Mayor Riley from Charleston. He put together this program to give the opportunity to mayors to sit before these experts and present to them the projects that each city is working on. I was able to present our project related to the Theater Square and also the Carousel Mall. Got some very good advice and input. And you saw this committee worked very diligently in trying to assess the projects that we had and bring their combined talents in providing recommendations and suggestions. It was an excellent opportunity to also hear from other mayors and some of the projects that they're working on. It was an opportunity to also visit Charleston and see some of the amazing things that they've done for their downtown, and to also then have the opportunity to meet and be instructed by Mayor Riley. Mayor Riley served for 30 years in Charleston and began this program. Actually, I think he served for 40 years, and he began the program 30 years ago. And he's continued it in collaboration with the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the National Endowment of the Arts. It was really a pleasure and honor to be there. So I'm happy to be able to report back on that meeting. Next, we will ask our city attorney to report out from closed session.
Yes, Mayor. Under item A, in the city's bankruptcy case, the council gave settlement directive on with respect to one of our claimants by a vote of 4-0 with Barrios, Valdivia, and Richard absent. Under item A, the items listed there being Yee versus the City of San Bernardino, AMF versus City of San Bernardino, Cush Concepts Collective versus the city, and Lee versus the city. Council gave a litigation directive by vote of 4-0 with Barrios, Valdivia, and Richard absent. Under item B, regarding the city versus Fung, council gave settlement directive by vote of 5-0 with Barrios and Richard absent. And the case of city versus Wells Fargo, council gave settlement directive by vote of 5-0, Barrios and Richard absent. And lastly, with respect to the Arden Guthrie properties, under item D, council gave negotiation directive by vote of 5-0 with Barrios and Richard absent. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. I'd like to also note that Councilmember Richard has left the meeting. We will now move to our consent calendar. We have 3 public speaker slips, actually 4. The first one is Wayne Skiles. You'll come to the podium. Thank you.
I really don't have anything to say. I'm just here in support of my request to relocate my business from the Carousel Mall to 415 West 50. That's item number 18 on the agenda. So if anybody has any questions in regard to that item, I'm happy to answer.
You're one of the tenants in the Carousel Mall?
Yes.
What's the business? What's the name of the business?
The Carousel Coin and Jewelry.
Carousel Coin and Jewelry. And then you'll be part of the relocation.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions? We thank you for attending this evening. Thank you. Tim Prince.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Prince, and I do have an affiliation with one of the tenants in the Carousel Mall, but I'm speaking more broadly on that issue tonight. You know, it's very difficult as a business owner downtown to deal with the number of long-term vacant buildings that we have. Right next door to us is the Radisson Hotel that has seen no action in years. It's prominent in our skyline. Everybody that comes downtown knows that that building is empty. You know that I was a vocal opponent of the way that we decided or didn't decide to vacate City Hall. When this building goes vacant for an unspecified amount of time, which I predict is going to be a long time, knowing city government over decades, that's going to be absolutely demoralizing. This structure is a very unique, iconic structure. It's of architectural significance. We didn't need to vacate it ad infinitum without a real plan on which floors need to be vacated, which sections, which columns are going to be wrapped. Can we move things around and stay in the building? But okay, we vacated the City Hall. Tonight, your vote will be asked on whether to vacate the largest parcel downtown, the Carousel Mall. I'm not going to make the argument that the Carousel Mall can make you money or even break even. But I am going to say that the fixed costs of that large property are going to cost this city a substantial sum, and we're going to pay those amounts if that item passes in order to have the largest vacant property, attracting homeless, attracting crime, making people downtown feel insecure. I implore you, I'm not trying to get in the way of this latest version of plans. And for people that haven't studied history in this city, there are many, many sets of plans that went nowhere for that mall. I happen to think there's some questions about whether these plans are going anywhere. But wait until you have a date and a financial commitment by somebody other than this city paying the bill before you serve those notices on the remaining tenants and before you close the doors of the Carousel Mall. Everybody knows that the mall is hopefully going to close in favor of better development at some point in the future. Wait until that date is certain and clear before those notices are served. Give everybody 90 or 120 days notice. Be extra generous. And then close the mall because we have a plan. We have money to tear it down. It's not just going to sit vacant and abandoned like the rest of downtown. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mark Westwood.
Mayor and Council, my name is Mark Westwood. I'm General Manager of KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. We've grown to 3 radio stations. We also occupy 254 Carousel Mall. We are a big move to move out of the mall, and we hope that whatever plans you do, whatever decisions you make are the right ones. I hope they are. It affects 20 full-time and part-time employees of our company. We sound like a big station. We are an NBC affiliate, but we are also a small business that's struggling inside the mall that has been rumored to be closed forever and ever. I've had people encounter me in the mall that say, "Is it okay to be in here?" Because it looks so closed and there's not very many people around. Our air conditioning was stripped out of there 3 weeks ago. We're sitting there without air conditioning. We have 4 plans to move out, 4 different locations, 3 of them out of San Bernardino, 1 of them in the Andreessen building. We're leaning towards the Andreessen building, but we need your help. We can't do this by ourselves. We are literally going to be put out of business if we don't get some help. I'm not here to oppose it or support it. I'm here to help you make the right decision, and if you have any questions, to please ask. I don't believe Fernando Villas from Cutler, Hammer, and Overstreet is here. I don't see the longtime manager, Sam Catalano, here. So I don't think we're being represented very well through this process. And so we're going to look into our options there, too, to see if our representation has been well. And we're going to survive. We need to survive one way or the other. So I'm hoping that when you make this very landmark decision, closing a 60-acre mall in San Bernardino, on the hopes that you can develop it, rather than, working with the bones that you have and the skeleton you have and making something of it. That's been your decision. You've gotten to this point. Now please help us make the correct decision, and please help us, help Mr. Hughes, help our coin vendor here, help the shoe cobbler that's been in the mall since 1972 when the mall opened, who opens faithfully day after day, to people who have tried to survive and have survived. There's very hardy vendors, mall merchants rather, that have stayed there and worked there and endured, the rumors that it was closed, practically promoted in the newspaper that it was closed. People don't understand that it's open or not. People ask my business, "Are you closing?" We're not closing. We're still open. We're a radio station. We're still there. And, we've seen a lot come and a lot go. We've been there for 15 years. I've lived in San Bernardino for over 40 years. Went to school with Bessine Littlefield, Tim Prince, Danny Tillman, myself, all in the same marching band together. I was the founding chair, and it was my concept to start Patrons of the Roosevelt Bowl, and I was one of the very first market managers for 3.5 years. It was very successful. This is my town. I love this town, and I want the best for it. So please make the correct and proper decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Deanna Adams?
This is an item that's not on the agenda. So shall I proceed or not?
This is just for consent or the items in the staff report. So if this isn't one of those, we'll call you back up during the public comment.
I emailed and I made it specifically clear, very specific and detailed, that this item that I'm speaking about, or will speak about, is not an agenda item.
All right, thank you. We'll call you back up during public comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Morales?
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Danny Morales. I'm the Executive Director of Librería del Pueblo Incorporated. It's an organization that's been around in our community for over 31 years. Since 2005, we have been at the Carousel Mall. And I basically want to thank the City of San Bernardino. It's been a wonderful time that we've been there. It's kind of sad that we're going to have to leave. Many times I walk those halls, from our office to either Sam's office or to the City Hall or the banks. And I feel such a sadness because I remember when that mall was first opened, it was bustling all over the place. People were there, a lot of businesses, and you can't understand the sadness to see walking those halls and see all those cubicles empty. But it comes a time that things have to change, and it's kind of forced us to move. I have thought about Librería del Pueblo. We've been around for so many years that I always said we've never had a building of our own. Well, like my grandmother used to say, no hay mal porque bien no venga. In other words, that there's nothing bad that comes before you, that some good's not going to come out of it. It has forced us to consider either renting someplace else or buying a place. And I'd like to announce that we have bought a place, and we're glad that we're going to stay in San Bernardino. Because San Bernardino will survive, and it will be a great city again. And I'd like to announce that we're going to be moving to former Mayor Evelyn Wilcox's previous building on 998 North D Street. It's the old Manpower building that Evelyn worked for so many years there. So we will probably be having a grand opening. We'd like to invite all of you to join us when we do. And again, thanks to the city of San Bernardino, and look forward to bigger years and better years, and we're going to come out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other speakers? That concludes our public comments on agenda items. We now move to our consent calendar. We'll first ask Councilmember Marquez if you have anything to pull.
None today, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Barrios?
None, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Valdivia?
Polling number 15.
Councilmember Charette?
None today.
Councilmember Nickel?
None.
Councilmember Mulvihill?
None, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Move the
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, although I'm not sure who made the motion. Councilmember Charette, I heard, made one of the... Nickel, did you make the second? Or Councilmember Mulvihill seconded?
Whichever.
On the consent calendar, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Charette, the second by Mr. Mulvihill, and it passed 6-0 with Ms. Basine Richard gone.
Thank you. Item number 15, this is to adopt a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Codacol for outside counsel services in litigation related to Measure O. Councilmember Nickel? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Valdivia.
No problem. Mayor, I'll be abstaining. Let the record reflect that my abstention due to possible business conflict.
Thank you.
Move approval.
On item 15, the professional services agreement with Codacol, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Charette, the second by Mr. Mulvihill, and it passed 5-0 with Ms. Richard absent and Mr. Valdivia abstaining.
Thank you. Next is a public hearing. This public hearing is now open. If there's anyone that wishes to speak on it, if you please stand, be sworn in. Seeing none, this is a recommendation. This is the General Plan Amendment 16-08, Development Code Amendment, and Zoning Map Amendment 16-10, and Categorical Exemption. Recommendation is to introduce for first reading an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, approving General Plan Amendment 16-08 and Development Code Amendment 16-10 and Categorical Exemption. Mr.
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you. Did you want to... Mr. Mejica?
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. As I mentioned, the item involves a general plan amendment and a development code amendment, and the property is for the project, I should say, is for the Arrowhead Credit Union. Technical difficulties here. So it's for the Arrowhead Credit Union located at 2500 North Del Rosa Avenue. Again, it's a general plan amendment, zone change to change the zoning from what is currently residential to commercial, to bring it in line. The property was developed back in 1979 as the bank when it was still within the county. Back in 2006, the city processed an annexation, which encumbered about 100 acres in that surrounding area, and the zoning was never changed to match the existing use. The applicant submitted an application, approached the city. They have closed. They're looking to market it for resale. When it's essentially becomes non-conforming because the property is zoned for residential, and it's and has commercial use, so it's non-conforming. So what we're trying to do here, we have with the aerial showing the surrounding areas, again, commercial, and it's on the northeast part of town. This is a picture of the, looking at it at the corner from Palamo and Del Rosa. And again, this item went to the Planning Commission, and they had forwarded a recommendation that the mayor and city council adopt the categorical exemption and also introduce the first reading for the ordinance to change the zoning and general plan designation. I'd be glad to answer any questions. We do have a representative that is here, that if there need to be a question, they can answer.
Thank you. Could you scroll back to the picture? Is that Pomelo?
Pomelo.
That it's just north of?
South.
That runs east and west.
Exactly.
It's north of Pomelo.
That's correct.
And the site size is how many square feet?
Approximately 10,000 square feet.
And thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Valdivia.
Thank you, Mayor. Oliver, to the west of the site, is that, I can't clearly see, is that vacant land to this?
That little notch out at the corner part, that's vacant, correct?
It is vacant.
Yes, and that's part of the site as well.
Is there a brick wall separating the site?
Yes, there is.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second.
On item 17, the public hearing, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Charette, the second by Mr. Mulvihill, and it passed with Ms. Richard. It passed 6-0 with Ms. Richard absent.
Thank you. I now open the next public hearing. Anyone wanting to speak on this, please stand to be sworn in. Seeing none, this is to introduce for the first reading an ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of San Bernardino, California, approving Development Code Amendment 17-02, and adopt a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of San Bernardino, California, adopting the categorical exemption and approving conditional use permit 17-06 to allow the relocation, establishment, and operation of an existing pawn shop to an existing commercial center located at 415 West 5th Street, Suite E.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council. If I may, I'd like to introduce Travis Martin, our Associate Planner, who would be making the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item 18 today, as you mentioned, Development Code Amendment 1702 and Conditional Use Permit 1706. I'm sorry, we're waiting just a moment for the presentation to come up. There we are. Okay, the applicant today is the Carousel Coin and Jewelry Exchange, as previously noted during the public comments. The proposed project is to amend Chapter 19.06.0251G, specific to pawn shops of the city's development code, and to approve the relocation of the Carousel Coin and Jewelry Exchange from inside the Carousel Mall to a property located at 415 West 5th, Suite E. Currently, the pawn shops in the city, there are 9 currently operating within the city of San Bernardino. Right now, they are still listed as a prohibited use, and the only provision for modifying or relocating them is if the shop is located within a building that has been designated as an unreinforced masonry structure. The amendment that we're looking at today would allow the relocation of an existing pawn shop subject to a conditional use permit, and it would be specific to any legally existing shops currently. It would not allow the addition of any new pawn shops to the city. The language that we're looking specifically to add is highlighted in red here. As noted, they are prohibited. There is the existing exemption from the prohibition to relocate if it is an unreinforced masonry building. We would add a second provision that would also exclude any legally established shop relocating to another property within the city subject to approval of a conditional use permit. And the second half of tonight's item is the request for the CUP to relocate the existing business. As was mentioned earlier, this business has been operating in the mall for over 20 years. We're looking to relocate as part of the mall closure project that we've already discussed. And the address, as I previously mentioned, is 415 West 5th, Suite E. That is the southwest corner of 5th and Arrowhead. Here's just an aerial of the property. It's located in the CR2 zone downtown. This is an aerial of the site. You can see the property there highlighted in red. This is just catty corner to the old post office here downtown. And some images just of the existing center. It's a fully developed center. This property where they're looking specifically would be all the way to the right of the image at the far west end of the building. And just another image from the other side of the property. And that would be the conclusion of the presentation today. As was noted earlier, the operator, Wayne Skiles, is here this evening if you do have any questions or if there's anything else I could answer.
Thank you for your presentation. Councilmember Marquez.
Mayor, just want to acknowledge Wayne. He's been at the Carousel for 20 years, and I want to thank you for staying in San Bernardino and relocating to somewhere else. I know you and I have spoken over the phone a few times, and I'm hoping that Steve Duquette has helped you through the process along with OPC. So I just wanted to thank you. I fully support this item.
Councilman Valdivia.
Thank you. Travis, can you back up to the elevations? Yeah, that one.
Yes.
Is it, where on this photo, is it to?
All the way to the far right.
Of dentist, right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The right of dentist?
Yes. Yeah, you see dentist, and then there's 2 more suites, I believe, just past that. One of them has some image on the windows. Then there's the very last suite at the very end of the building.
What is the current facility that Mr. Skiles has? How many square feet at the mall does he have?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So you're downsizing about 300 to 400 square feet?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Move approval. Oh, did you? I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. No further discussions. Please vote.
On item 18, the motion to approve was made by Ms. Marquez, second by Mr. Charette, and it passed 6-0 with Ms. Basine Richard absent.
Thank you very much. This public hearing is now closed. We will now move to item 19. Item 19 is a recommendation to approve the selection of a delegate and alternate to the 2017 Southern California Association of Governments Regional Conference General Assembly. Their dates will be May 4th and 5th, 2000 in Palm Desert, California. Councilmember Schreck.
Well, I'm going to nominate Jim as a delegate.
Okay.
And then we need to find,
An alternate?
we need to have an alternate just to be in compliance. I went last year. Jim this year, I think, will be a voting member, and I went as a delegate last year, really enjoyed it. It's going to be a conflict on my calendar this year, so I can't go. But I would recommend it highly. It's a Thursday and a Friday. So But at any rate, we'll have Jim there. Unless something happens to him, he'll be there anyway. We won't need an alternate.
Councilmember Nichol?
I can be the alternate. All right, I'll make a amendment.
That'd be included.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so I'll be the
Delegate, alternate.
alternate. Second.
All right, so we have a motion to sign Councilmember Mulvihill as the voting delegate and an alternate is Councilmember Nichol. We have a motion and a second. Thank you.
On item 19, the motion was to name Councilmember Jim Mulvihill as the delegate and Councilmember Henry Nichol as the alternate to the Southern California Association of Governments General Assembly on May 4th and 5th, and the item passed unanimously. The motion was made by Mr. Charette, and it was seconded by Mr. Valdivia.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Nichol, for stepping up. And Councilor Mulvihill. Next is item 20. Says, yes, Councilman Charette.
At the risk of embarrassing somebody, I want to, and I say somebody because I'm not sure who I might embarrass. Maybe myself. I just want to say that Jim was elected by this council unanimously to do this, and we knocked off one of our sister cities, Highland.
We replaced.
Yeah, I told you I might embarrass myself. But anyway, no, it was Larry McCallum from the City of Highland that has been a really very good representative for this region and for us, and has done really good things. But we all decided it was time for change, and so Jim is replacing Mayor McCallum out in Highland, and I think it'll be beneficial to us as a city to have the voting members. So congratulations, Jim, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Councilmember. Next is item 20. This is to adopt a resolution of intention of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, to approve an amendment to the contract between the Mayor and the City Council of the City of San Bernardino and the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System, and introduce for first reading an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, authorizing an amendment to the contract between the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino and the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System.
Mayor, members of the council, we're requesting this evening that you adopt this amendment. It's an agreement with CalPERS, and some time ago, the council and mayor established another tier for police safety personnel. This evening, we're recommending that you actually ratify that through a contract amendment with CalPERS. Jason has been working on this. Jason Ewert, one of our deputy city attorneys, has been working with our HR department and also CalPERS to ensure that we have the proper language to actually effectuate, again, the action that was taken some time by this council.
Thank you. Any questions?
Move approval.
We have a motion, and Councilman Charette, and a second by Councilman Valdivia.
Mr. Valdivia, I have you down as making the motion with Mr. Charette seconding the motion on item 20, and it passed 6-0.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is item 21. This is a recommendation to adopt a joint resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, and the Water Board of the City of San Bernardino, California, authorizing the transfer of the wastewater collection system and services from the Public Works Department to the Water Department.
Move for approval.
We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. No further discussions. Cast your vote.
Great job, Andrea.
Stellar report, huh? Well, we went in time.
On item 21, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Valdivia, the second by Ms. Marquez, and it passed 6-0.
Thank you. Next is item 22. This is a recommendation to adopt a resolution of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, approving the final relocation plan for the Carousel Mall closure project and approving certain related actions.
Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. No further questions. Please cast your votes.
On item 22, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Charette, the second by Mr. Mulvihill, and it passed 6-0.
Thank you. Next is item 23. This is to adopt a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, ratifying the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District Board's adoption of the 2016 California Fire Code with local amendments for enforcement within the City of San Bernardino.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Valdivia.
would it be possible to just combine items 23 and 24, since they're related somewhat? If there's no objection, I'd like to move that.
All right.
Hold on just a second.
Do we need to, we can just combine them. Thank you. All right, so item 24 is a recommendation to introduce for the first reading an ordinance adopting Chapter 3 of Division 3 of Title 2 of the San Bernardino County Code related to the abatement of fire hazards and hazardous trees with local amendments, and set a public hearing date for adoption of the ordinance for May 15, 2017. We have a motion and a second?
Okay, I'll second.
All right.
John did, and I'll make it second.
On items 23 and 24, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Valdivia, the second by Mr. Charette, and they both passed 6-0.
Thank you. We now move to item 25. This is a recommendation by minute action to direct the city manager to return to the city council at its first May meeting with a resolution appointing committee members and establishing a formal charge, and also direct the city manager to initiate a request for qualifications and hire on a consulting basis in an amount not to exceed $50,000, a specialist in the area of marijuana policy with extensive knowledge in implementing and managing effective marijuana regulation and taxation to assist the committee and city officials in the conduct of their work. This is to create a citizens advisory committee regarding marijuana policy. This issue I brought forward, and I believe it is timely given that Measure O has been challenged and the need, I believe, exists to reach out to the public to get further input from them in order to be able to develop a possible alternative to a Measure O, depending on what the action is on Measure O once it goes through the courts. And so, as you can see, this is a committee that would be made up of 11 people, and it would require a number of disciplines to be included in that. There would be someone from the education, San Bernardino City Unified School District, someone from the educational representing the college. There would be a business person, someone from the clergy, also someone representing the health industry, a nonprofit community-based organization, neighborhood association, and someone from the banking industry. Additionally, there would be two that would be selected to, that would be a commercial, one would be a commercial marijuana cultivation representative and a marijuana retailing representative, provided such activity shall have been legally conducted and such representative shall not have been cited for any illegal activity in San Bernardino County for the preceding 5 years. The resolution on May 1st will provide additional definition on scope of work, committee meeting parameters, and selection of committee chair and vice chair, meeting dates, times, anticipated final work products, etc. Any questions? Councilmember Valdivia?
Thank you, Mayor. I am all for the citizens to be active and vocal in their support. The confounding thing for me is that if we rewind our tape here, the spring and summer months of 2016, the Legislative Review Committee had made several recommendations, of which one of them was to study this and take a tour as an ad hoc committee within the LRC. And that was shot down by you, Mayor. On packet page number 611, it is prudent to seek public input in order to protect the public's interest. We have fresh, raw data as of November of 2016. The residents of this city have had the opportunity to go to the polls and have registered their and expressed their interest in this particular matter. This is a tune of $50,000 and the additional money of consulting. I have problems with it. This could have been handled through the Legislative Review Committee. We accomplished a lot of inquiry and comments and thoughts from our community, and I think this is somewhat an afterthought, and I can't support this tonight. I think it's pretty vague. The composition, it doesn't suggest the residency status of committee members. It's pretty vague. It's pretty open. So those are my immediate concerns. I don't know where this is necessarily stemming from. This kind of blindsides me. I never received a call from you, sir, regarding this item. So it does create some concerns, and I don't know if I can support this tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Charette.
I support the concept, certainly, of engaging the community, and this is an issue that, again, I have kind of regretted that I allowed the LRC committee kind of to be co-opted a couple of years ago when we had spent quite a bit of time discussing this, and it fell off the radar screen. And I was the chair at the time, and I've regretted that I allowed that to happen and that we didn't finish the discussion. We have had a vote, and it is in litigation, going to be, and I wasn't supportive of N, O, or P, or 64. And it had nothing to do with my views or values about marijuana or cannabis as a substance. The federal government is really creating a problem, I believe, by continuing to leave this substance on the Schedule I drug list. And I think by if they would take the lead, and I understand there's a lot going through the legislature, that it may be taken off the Schedule I drug list. Again, back to this particular issue, the mayor and I talked a little bit about this, and I indicated that a blue ribbon committee or commission or whatever we want to call it would be a good thing to have kind of in the background, depending upon what happens with Measure O and the litigation that's going to be going on. I have a problem with the way we're appointing this committee. I believe they should be, I think we should have some input on how the committee is established, is what I'm really saying. So I can't support this as it is. I support the concept. I want to have a committee. I think it's a good thing to do, to engage the community. But I really can't support the way the committee's being established, and would really like to have this, have some further discussion on this, maybe at the LRC or somewhere, to determine, or have the city manager come back with some specifics on what he thinks, check best practices or what you think can be done. But I think the council, this has really come out of your office, almost, I think, exclusively by you, with maybe some help from the city attorney, and I have no problem with that, except that we weren't really engaged or included in that, in any kind of discussion on this. And I just, again, I think the cannabis issue is one that's not going away. We know that, and we've got to deal with it. And Measure O may be the law of the land, of this land here in San Bernardino, after all is said and done. I hope not. But I think we need to have a little further, maybe a workshop, because you can't do it as a, without violating the Brown Act.
Right.
That good old Brown Act, it's nothing but an impediment to getting the job done. And
Can I address your comment real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just so that everybody understands, the item that's on the agenda tonight is so that the council can give direction. The earliest we would come back with a resolution is 2 weeks, and that's only if the council gave enough direction that we were able to do so. If it takes more than 2 weeks, it takes more than 2 weeks. But we need your input on how you would want a committee established. That's why the report's put together. It's not cast in concrete. This is just for discussion.
I think that also there's a need to recognize that as a result of the changing environment because of Proposition 64, it does require an additional mechanism to be able to have that community outreach. And this is clearly to provide to the council the opportunity to have this discussion. The makeup of the committee is not set in stone. This is not something.
I'm not reading it that way, so that's fine. I appreciate that.
So this is a recommendation to ask the city manager, if the council so chooses, to be able to come back with a resolution that could be adopted in the future so that it could establish. I think that we had some very good results from the committee that was put forward for the charter review. They took 2 years to study that. I think they brought back a very good product. I think that this lends itself also. I don't think that this should probably have to take as long as that 2-year process. But I think it's important to recognize that there has been a change of the environment. There's been much learned by those who have been involved in this, providers that provide services to help in aiding the establishment of an ordinance is now better able to look at some of the pitfalls that other states and communities have been forced into accepting. This gives us the opportunity, I believe, to stay in parallel with the potential litigation, the litigation that is currently unfolding, and it gives us the opportunity to be further ahead, not waiting for that conclusion, to not necessarily have we don't know what that decision is going to be, whether Measure O is going to be invalidated, whether it be validated, or whether it be partially validated. But this gives the input of the council through the community to give their input, as opposed to being left out in the decision-making process. So, Councilman Nickel.
Just a couple of comments, observations, questions. Now, I tend to agree with my colleagues here and some of the concerns that have been expressed. I've certainly been involved to some degree in this discussion since I was elected. So this is not a new issue. I think it's an issue that we've struggled with. There are deep differences in terms of perspectives on this that I think are shared among those of us on this dais and within our community. But I think what is clear to me is in the 2 to 3 years that I've been involved in this organization that the issue is not going to go away. And that my sense is that this is probably something that is going to become an industry at some point that we need to understand, and we need to determine how our city fits in terms of to what degree we will be involved in this particular industry. And I think it's outside, certainly we all have our personal views and moral views of, this and other things, but we're policymakers, and to that degree, whatever we think personally really doesn't matter once we're sitting up on this dais. We have to be concerned with what is best for our community and how do we represent those who have elected us to make policy. And that said, I think we have had some very good, very robust discussion I think we've gone into some very extensive research on this topic. I think the ad hoc that was put together, or the LRC that looked at this last year, that we've pulled together, I think, some good information. Certainly, some things have changed in terms of both our local laws and state laws. I think there's certainly potentially some changes in terms of how the federal authorities are going to respond to this. So I do think it is appropriate that we continue to be engaged in addressing and assessing this. I do have some questions, though. In the agenda item, it states on page 611, and I'm looking at the, more or less, the third paragraph in discussion. It says, the Marijuana Advisory Committee will be comprised of 11 members. It goes on in the next paragraph, subject to City Council approval, it is recommended that the 11-person committee be constituted as follows. Bullet point, the mayor and City Council would each appoint one member. So the mayor and City Council, I count, that would be 11, that would be 8 persons, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You've caught our mistake.
Okay. I caught it. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't catch it. My constituents caught it, and they asked me, well, the math doesn't quite add up. So
I can tell you very quickly. The idea was that we did that part of this report at the very last minute. The idea was that we would want to have an odd number of members. And in order to make sure that all those disciplines got included on the committee, we said that if it misses any of the disciplines, the mayor would make extra appointments. And originally it said 2 appointments by the mayor and 1 each by city council members to get an odd number.
That gets us to 10.
Then we thought that if the mayor's making extra appointments, we didn't want to give him 3, 4, 5. So it was left loose, but it doesn't necessarily add up to 11. But the idea would be a committee of 11 or 13, depending on how many people it took to fill all those slots.
Okay. Okay, that answers that question. The other question I have is to make sure that whatever this committee does, I would hope that it would build upon the extensive research that has been conducted by our city attorney's office. I know several very good presentations were made to us, and I want to make sure that that information is retained and continues, that we don't reinvent a lot of research that has already been done. And then also, obviously, this is a sensitive issue to some degree because we are confronted with litigation, and I want to make sure that whatever we are doing in the context of this committee does not get wound up in the complexities of what is already some potentially very complex litigation. So maybe our city attorney can just provide, to what degree you can, your sense in terms of the work this committee would be doing, the potential recommendations that could come out of this committee, and how might that affect ongoing litigation.
I don't believe that the work of this committee is going to interfere with our litigation, and or the litigation would have an undue influence on what the committee is doing. Your reference to the research and reports that have been presented to the council have been the work of my deputy, Stephen Graham. And it would be my intention, you see here that the city attorney's office would be attending. It would be my intention then to have Stephen Graham attend those, and he would be very careful that the one didn't influence the other in a way that was improper.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I need some clarification from you, Mayor, in terms of the concept. Would the concept be somewhat identical to the Charter Review Committee? They would meet, I guess, monthly or twice a month and provide us with reports frequently?
Well, as you recall, the Charter Review Committee met twice a month, and I would think that it would require similar scheduled meetings in order to be able to wade through all of the information. And additionally, I think that this would help to provide added information. There's been a significant amount of information that was provided to the LRC, but subsequent to that, there's been additional information that I think would be very important for the council to have that information made available to them, and also for a committee to reach out and ask other questions that may now be able to be asked and answered as a result of Proposition 64 being passed, and also some of the other states that have had problems that they've dealt with and now are looking at ways to rectify some of those. So I think that there are providers out there now that have been able to glean quite a bit from the experience that other states have had. As you know, we attended the City County Conference recently, where there was a presentation that was given, and they were able to provide information to those who attended that particular breakout session that I think allows us now to be better informed on how to structure ordinances to make sure that there are certain protections put in place. There's some very broad language in Proposition 64 that allows for local control, and yet even that local control doesn't allow cities to be able to restrict indoor grows with anything 6 plants or less. So that entire environment has changed, and there are cities in our community, in our region, who have adopted specific ordinances related to that. And so I think there's an opportunity now to have a very comprehensive groundwork laid to be able to make that an informed decision, and to craft an ordinance which would best the public of San Bernardino, and also would give us an opportunity to hear more from our community, as there's been a need, I think, generated as a result of Proposition 64. And there's also been talk, as it was mentioned here, as far as Schedule 1. We don't know where that's going to land. And there may be a need to try to bridge that problem and make sure that we don't put in at risk businesses that may be subject to enforcement that they may still be subject to.
Right. I find it to be a very complicated issue with many moving components, a lot of moving parts. I know that the Charter Review Committee met for 2 years. I don't think we can wait that long. I think they need to meet for 6 months, maybe 8 months, and provide us with updates.
Yeah, I would think that this would be something that you certainly couldn't do anything for this current year, but possibly something for the next year in terms of something that might go forward to the voters.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Valdivia.
Mayor, I'd like to move to table this matter.
I'll second.
We have a motion to table and a second. Please cast your votes. Any other further discussion?
There can't be.
No need?
Well, yeah, there is.
Huh?
You got to vote. There's no more discussion.
You can't discuss it, but you can vote on it.
Second.
Yes.
I don't want to table it.
No. No.
Councilman Shred.
I know where you're going with that, and that wasn't a bad idea, John, frankly. But I think we need to deal with it.
Yeah.
And
let's workshop it then. This is a very serious situation.
I'm fully supportive of the concept of a committee and a group and engaging the community in this, and having input from the city attorney and hiring an expert that can lead the committee. I feel like we're limiting ourselves when we have these disciplines put down as, and I don't know, okay, so you get to do the nonprofit, and you get to do the church, and I'll do the college, and you do that you can't do it. So I don't think we should have these disciplines listed as they must be on the committee. So I can't support it from that aspect. And if we can take that out of it and give you direction to come back with something that's a little bit, maybe
More
broader,
definite? More definite?
or maybe less broad and more definite. I don't support I'm not, am I embarrassing myself again? I have a problem with the committee makeup. And I think, and I don't know where to go with a motion for this, to keep the ball rolling. Can you help me?
You can move to continue it to a date to be determined for a workshop.
Then that would be my motion.
Second.
Councilman Mulvihill.
I guess we're talking about a workshop?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine, yeah. I don't have any comments.
And listen, I'm sorry, I don't like workshop. That's the only way we can do it.
Can you continue us to a date? Do you have a date that you want to?
We'll have to get dates.
Not now, Mayor. I think council.
And I appreciate that, and that's part of the problem with the workshop, if that's the choice of the council. But if you look forward to the next month and beyond that, the ability to put forward a workshop or a time for a workshop does get very restricted, because you do have very committed calendars, and the city manager is going to be bringing forward a couple of workshops related to the budget, related to homelessness, related to, I think there's the CIP and the charter, and so budget workshops. So if there's any time within those, then that might make sense to bring this issue up during one of those workshops and be able to incorporate it in that, because otherwise this is going to get stretched out, and we then don't necessarily have any determined time by which to be able to bring this forward. So is that what you...
Yeah, next Monday, we're meeting next Monday.
We're meeting Monday on the homeless workshop and the CDBG.
And add this
That's
to...
a pretty full meeting.
That'll be late. That'll run late. So it's not, we need some more dates. And what we'll do tomorrow is we'll ask about dates. I'm hoping you all will keep all those Mondays open in June, because you didn't know until now that we'd be moving till Wednesday. So hopefully you'll have some open Mondays in June.
All right, so the motion is to move it to a workshop. To be determined by the city manager?
Right, after polling and coming up with some dates.
All right, very good, thank you. Councilman Mobile.
Reluctant second, but yes.
I guess I just had a comment. Mark, you heard what some of the comments were, and I guess I kind of trust that you've got kind of an objective idea of what is going on here. Could you come up with some, just sort of an outline of what various kinds of options we might have in terms of having a committee?
Yes. Yes.
And maybe you might be able to pass that out.
Some alternatives.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Thanks.
And if before you vote, if we could potentially include in that, also bringing back what the scope of the
leader?
So no, not the scope of the leader, but the scope of the committee, what we want them to discuss, what their mission is. All right. So is that,
yes.
Do you want to include that?
Yeah, I don't want to get in the way of this, but I just think it needs some more work.
All right. So the motion is to bring this back at a workshop to include a configuration and constitution of the committee that becomes acceptable to the committee or to the council, also with a definition of what the scope of that charge is.
Right.
All right. Thank you. Please cast your vote.
On item 25, the motion to continue was made by Mr. Charette, seconded by Mr. Valdivia, and it passed 6-0.
Very good. Thank you. Next is item 26. This is a recommendation to review and discuss the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians proposal to allocate 2017-2018 San Manuel credit funds and direct the city manager or his designee to transmit a letter of support for the tribe's proposal to the governor's office.
Move for approval.
A motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes.
On item 26, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Valdivia, the second by Ms. Marquez, and it passed 6-0.
I've learned to send Ms. Miller up to make all the staff reports from now on.
We now have public comments for items not on the agenda. Margaret Hill.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and members of the audience, and other members of the staff. I just want to just briefly say, in lieu of what happened Monday a week ago, just want to just give thanks to all of you for being at the vigils, being at the schools, and being there to support the school board, the superintendent and cabinet, and the members, staff members at North Park Elementary School. Just want you to know we were over there this morning. Things went quite well, and it's my understanding at the end of the day, out of over 500 students, 44 students did not show up. So that's 44 too many, but we thought it was good. And I know, I'm sure that number will increase as time goes on. But I just want to personally, on behalf of the board and on behalf of the superintendent and the cabinet, say thank you for being a part of the team. Your police force was absolutely wonderful. We just appreciate them, and all of you who had a chance to come out and join us at any of the events. So, again, I just want to say thank you, and it's great being in this city. As angry as I get sometimes, you usually cause me to get over my anger by the good deeds you do. So thank you for the good deeds. Thank you.
Thank you. Deanna Adams.
Good evening. On April the 3rd, 2017, Mark Basicchio and Todd Morris pulled at Pearl Harbor after abruptly canceling the January 31, 2017 meeting. Morris telephoned and informed cancellation along with a promise to follow up. He failed to do so. After the cancellation, I asked the city clerk to submit the list of the URM properties. I received the list in a timely manner, along with a letter from Gary Science. However, the Basicchio and Morris list they're not the same. And analyzing the duo, I noticed add-ons and omissions. Furthermore, analyzing the list that targets a particular area in downtown and main streets, leaving hundreds of URM buildings carte blanche. The anxious voice of earthquake safety, certainly legitimate, must include all buildings. The list grossly inept and a land grab at best. The danger of the anticipated great earthquake must encompass all unreinforced building. It is unfair to discriminate and blatantly disregard the rest of URM buildings in need of retrofitting. Buildings claims life, not from the outer wall, but within those walls lies aging, thick lath and plaster, melded with wire plus aging beams. The heavyweight lath and plaster lose integrity, and as our body diminish flexibility and suppleness. In addition, along with replacing lath and plaster, replacing and adding beams, anchoring must also take place. The outer structure anchor and inner load unloaded, replaced and anchored. For example, my place, the foundation, I received the building records, I found it, the foundation is reinforced and there is steel rods coming through. So, however, that type of reinforcement is completely different of seismic reinforcement. All old buildings here in San Bernardino needs to be reinforced. So I have a list, I did a bit of homework, and I didn't even scratch the surface. apartment buildings, duplexes, triplexes, commercial cottages, restaurants, theaters, transport depot, churches, neighborly services, funeral homes, large, small, medium-sized grocery store, dollar stores, 99 cents, event places, print shops, entertainment venues, and various business buildings, as dentistry, pawn shop, et cetera, must be herded in to protect equal protection and safety. You missed out. All old buildings are not seismically retrofitted, and those inner walls has to be removed because when there's an earthquake, thick lath and plaster will fall on your head, and also all the aging beams. You have caused a disservice to the rest of the Huron buildings. If there's an earthquake, all the churches, especially apartments, because they live there 24 hours, if that causes a issue, then there will be plenty of lawsuits. I recommend a close look to avoid possible consequences and follow state law, which requires you a complete, uncompromised survey of all URM buildings. You don't have even watermen on the list. You just have little sections. This is a land grab. This is not protecting our lives and concern of safety and earthquake. The criteria must be comprehensive, detailed, and have a monetary solution, and you must follow state law and have a complete detailed study. I know you are going to do what you want to do, and so am I.
Ms. Adams, your time
Thank you.
expired.
You don't need to do that. Thank you.
Robert Porter.
City Manager, Council, Mayor. Oh, good people. We need more people to stay at the meetings, please. Don't just stay for the awards. Come on down for the whole thing. Right, Mr. Manager? It's important to have the public here to get involved in these discussions, especially when it has to do with things we care about a great deal. And it's good that you're discussing things that the public cares about, especially you, Mr. Mayor, even though it's a subject you don't really like, and you may actually even hate it, to see you discuss it is very good. Because there's a lot of people that don't hate it. There's a lot of people that need help. And by you even just discussing it, it gives them some hope. So I thank you very much. I'd also like to ask everyone to keep North Park in their prayers. Those second graders may be ruined for life. Let's hope not. We need to do whatever we can to make life for all the second graders in our whole city much better. So if you can, volunteer for the career days. Volunteer to show what you do for your business. Volunteer at the schools. Now we have to get permission. May even have to get fingerprinted to get on campus. But we'll do what it takes to get to these students and help them out, because I've been tutoring second graders, and they are smart kids. And let me tell you, they know what murder is. They know. And they shouldn't have to go through that firsthand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jay Lindberg.
Jay Lindberg, County Pocket, surrounded by this godforsaken city. I got a question for everybody here. Does anybody in this room have solar on their homes? Anybody? Anybody? Yay, we got one. Good. Does anybody even get their electricity from a green energy fund as 100% solar? No, I didn't think so. Has anyone in this room even had an energy audit on their homes to see how efficient they are? No, I didn't think so. Well, remember this map right here? This map right here that I've been kind of forecasting that things are going to get real ugly this year. Well, one way to look at that big red zone up there is our carbon footprint.
This is the carbon footprint of this species. Most of it's happened over the last 20, 30 years. I mean, 30 years ago, we had ice. Most of the ice up there was 10 meters thick. And when a storm blew through it, nothing happened. You know, the ice has already reached its peak, and now it's receding already. And almost none of the ice up there in the Arctic is over 3 feet thick. It's all broken up. There have been waves that went through that ice up to 60 feet high, winds 100 miles an hour. And we're looking at this and we're saying, we don't think that ice is going to make it through June. Now, what happens when that ice is gone, or even when it gets close to gone, is methane starts pouring into our environment. Right here already, the southern tip, this area over here, they've already got temperatures 20 degrees above normal, and they're saying that those temperatures are associated almost exclusively with the methane releases that are up there. We've got 5 billion tons of methane in our atmosphere. We've got 2 trillion tons of methane in the permafrost and in the bottom of the Arctic Ocean. That stuff heats up, it pours into our environment. You know, we cook steaks with that stuff. You know, once it thaws out, it's released into our environment. We cook steaks in this stuff, and, you know, I look at that carbon footprint up there, and I said, what can we do individually to deal with this? And I was thinking, well, maybe if we could just get people to try to eliminate their carbon footprint. I'm not asking you all to do solar, which would be nice, but I'm thinking maybe if you just went and bought your electricity from a green energy fund, you could at least be paying a part in trying to fix this. I don't think we're going to fix it, but at this point I think it's the only option we got left. Thank you.
William Cioce.
That was pretty nice.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, City Attorney. This happened for my first time today, catch this glimpse of this Cannabis Commission, and I'm sorry that I wasn't here earlier to hear the discussion about it. Been a little bit busy and a little bit discouraged from becoming a gadfly and a critic instead of being viewed as a concerned citizen and professional in the industry who tried to share knowledge and laws, regulations, and even tried to prevent lawsuits that I believe that our city attorney should have never given a ballot title and summary to Measure O, seeing as that it's already bringing lawsuits to the city. So if you go ahead and start a cannabis commission, remember that this is something that I've wanted to do for a few years now. I just haven't had the funds to go out and pay people for signatures and go out and gather. I'm not like that. I'm just a resident of the city, living off of my disability check, trying to get by. So if you do this, I really would like to be considered to be a part of, to be remembered as the guy that tried to share knowledge and information with the city. Wasn't trying to be a gadfly or a critic, but was trying to help guide in right direction, trying to help make right decisions. And that's all that I've ever tried to do for this city. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. James Albert.
Thank you. I just want to thank you, Mr. Scott and Mayor Carey Davis, for meeting with us the other day. We really appreciate you taking the time to do so. I do want to just recognize a little disagreement that we came up with in regards to whether all jobs are good jobs, and there's disagreement about whether we should be bringing corporations and subsidizing their pay for what they give us. And I have a report here, as promised, on Amazon through the Institute for Local Self-Reliance. Just the overview, but you can look at it, the full report online. It talks about, in the first section, about how Amazon, when they come into a local city, how they monopolize the economy, and how they use its market power to eliminate competition and take control of one industry after another and leave us with an economy that is less diverse and innovative. The second section talks about undermining jobs and wages. Amazon has almost eliminated about 149,000 more jobs in retail than it has created in its warehouses, and the pace of layoffs is accelerating as Amazon grows. Third is, in the third section, it talks about how it's actually weakening communities. We explore how Amazon is upending the long-standing relationship between commerce and place. And the final section talks about the policy in response to Amazon and some suggestions that public officials and policymakers should look into. And I'll list a couple of those right now. They say that policymakers should restore the broader range of goals that guided antitrust enforcement for much of the 20th century and use these policies to divide Amazon into separate firms, prevent it from using financial resources to capsize smaller competitors, and ensure fair and open competition on its platform. Second, officials should update both state and federal labor laws to protect workers' rights in the digital economy, including establishing stronger protections for temporary workers and blocking companies from classifying workers as independent contractors as a way of evading wage and hour standards. And third, local and state governments should stop providing Amazon with subsidies and tax breaks and revise their planning and economic development policies to reflect the fiscal and community benefits of local independent businesses. So I just want to give you an update with it and hand you over the report. So thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your interest, and thank you again for meeting with us. No further public comments. Do we have any items to be referred to council committees? Any announcements? Councilmember Mobile.
Thank you, Mayor. Coming up this Thursday is the Third Thursday Food Fest, 11 o'clock until 2 o'clock in the City Court Street parking lot. Also mention the fact that this Friday and Saturday is going to be the Art Night, City of San Bernardino. Further information, Stephanie Sanchez at 909-384-7272, extension 3343. And again, that's going to be, the Arts Night is going to be on this Friday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And last year it was really had a very large draw of population from really across the city. I suspect it's going to be doing much more this year, being on a weekend and for 2 days. And that's, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Nickel.
A couple announcements. The Blair Park Neighborhood Association yard sale fundraiser will take place Saturday, this Saturday, April 22nd, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 3095 Serrano Road. For information, please contact Joyce Seeger at 909-882-1372. Also wanted to just make sure the city manager, I have received a number of calls from members of that particular neighborhood. We are still having some issues with Little Mountain. There's some rather large potholes, so I keep getting the calls, and so I just keep passing them on, but I want to make sure you're aware that I think last count I had about 15 that pretty significant. So, okay. And finally, on Monday, April 24th, we will be hosting our CDBG HUD Programs Review Workshop from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. In the EDA boardroom. So I would invite the public, if you're interested in being part of the conversation as to how we move forward in allocating the funds that are available to us through the federal HUD programs. Please join us that evening. Do we have a date yet for CIP and budget discussions yet?
We don't have a workshop date. That's what we'll be polling about.
Okay. That's all the announcements I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Charette.
Mayor, I have just one, and it's the reestablishment, hopefully, of the 40th Street Corridor Business Watch Group. This was a group that we attempted to get the businesses and residents, anyone that lives in that general area, the 40th Street Corridor, between about Kendall and Mountain, all the way along there, and anything in the surrounding area. Anyway, the police department is going to assist in reestablishing this group, and we're going to meet on, I think that's a Thursday, or Tuesday the 25th. Is that a Tuesday? Yes, Tuesday the 25th. That's next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, at the American Legion post on 194 East 40th Street. That's right across the street from the entry of Stater Brothers on 40th Street at 9:30 in the morning, and it's about a 2-hour meeting, and you'll have an opportunity to speak with officers and express concerns to issues in and around the area with your businesses and or the neighborhood. So again, we had this group meeting for a while, a couple of years ago, and it kind of fizzled out. We couldn't get the support, so we've got some concerns, of course, up on that corridor, and I will be there supporting the PD on what they're going to do, but would encourage the business owners, particularly in that area, but really anyone in that surrounding area, to join us. For further information, call Officer Clint Walton, and the phone number for Clint is 909-388-4925, and he can give you any further information. But try to show up next Tuesday morning at 9:30 at the American Legion, 194 East 40th Street, and we can maybe breathe life back into that corridor. Thank you.
Councilman Valdivia.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to send my deep appreciation and thanks to our city manager, Mr. Scott. Thank you, sir, for coming out to our Valley College Amtrak Neighborhood Council meeting. It was a great event, a good turnout on this past April 4th. In that meeting, Mr. Scott made several updates regarding our capital improvement plan, so I want to ensure that our residents out in the Bunker Hill and essentially all of our Third Ward neighborhoods know that CIP help is coming, our planned program to improve asphalt and street repairs and curb and gutters, many of which has already happened in the month of March in and around the Bunker Hill area. We're very grateful for the sidewalks and the curb driveway approaches along the alleyways and the improvements seen in that neighborhood. So thank you, Mr. Scott, for your continued efforts on improving and executing the CIP plan. Many of the neighborhoods in and around the Bunker Hill area still need the arterial streets, and I think they need, well, I know they need, the individuals in my community council have expressed great concerns about the ongoing asphalt and the deterioration. So if you could please, I think you and I have had meetings in late January, early February. We're looking forward to getting neighborhood streets done. We've concentrated, my focus has been really on the main arterials, Mount Vernon, Hospitality, portions of Hospitality, Weir Road, South Waterman area. The pothole program has been, I think, fabulous. I've talked to other council members, and I've seen some improvements on our pothole program citywide, so I'm very, very grateful and thankful for that. But getting back to my district and my ward that I represent is the need for asphalt rehabilitation in the city streets in the local neighborhoods. And so I'll be following this up with another email to you on specifics of that plan that are concerning to me. Also, the street lights in and around the Inland Center Drive area, as well as Inland Center and Adele. For about 3 months, shopkeepers at Inland Center Mall have called and complained, and nothing is getting done on the corner and intersection of Adele and Inland Center Drive. That is the main entryway to our city mall. I'm asking, sir, that you get on that and expedite that, prioritize that as an important business corridor for our community and the staple of really the only remaining mall in our city. So if we could get those lights these are the crosswalk safety lights, the overhead lamps that illuminate the entire section. That area is completely darkened, and we need to work on that. The other concern that I have, and wanted to make sure that we get out to our Auto Center Drive, there's still some rampant problems there on our street lighting, and we need to address those. This is, again, our number one sales tax producing area in the city. We need to make sure that that area is taken care of. I've expressed in email, phone calls to your office, and we're still not getting anywhere, so I'm looking forward to making sure that we get those lights back on. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Barrios?
Thank you, Mayor. Hope everybody had a great Easter yesterday. I certainly did with family. And on Wednesday, April 26th at 9 a.m., the Southwest District Coffee with a Cop will be held at Michael's Burgers, located at 940 West Highland Avenue. For more information on that, contact Eileen Hart at 909-384-5694. On Thursday, April 27th, I want to remind everyone that at 6:30 p.m. to 9:30, there's going to be a San Bernardino Community Town Hall hosted by Generation Now at the Garcia Center for the Arts, located on 11th and E Street here in San Bernardino. For more information, contact Ivan Aguayo at 909-380-1227 or Michael Segura at 909-653-7003. On Saturday, April 29th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., it is going to be a mulch day for people to go out and to start preparing their gardens or their lawns so that we can preserve some water over the hot summers that we have. And it's going to be free mulch provided by Bertect, located at 3 different locations, at Paris Hill Park, and on Baseline in front of the Smart and Final store, and also at the Home Depot in the Muscogee area. Want to let everybody know that Project Fighting Chance that is led by Ian Franklin, they entered into a boxing competition on April 13th last week in Compton, and they have 3 champions that emerged from that competition, and are now looking for funds to go to the next level for those young men. And if you want to get a hold of Ian Franklin, he can be contacted at 909-496-6029 for any funds as sponsors are needed. And they will compete in the Western Regionals in May, and they're one step closer to the Nationals in West Virginia. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Your Honor. On Saturday, April 8th, I had the honor of being selected as one of the 14 judges for the 14th Annual Mr. Cardinal Pageant hosted by Jamie Rios in San Bernardino High School. All of the contestants were incredible and amazing, and I would like to congratulate each and every one of them for their participation. Special recognition goes to the new Mr. Cardinal and his court for 2017, 2018, and they include the following. Second runner-up is Jason Mendoza. First runner-up is Javier Molina. There's a new category that was created, and that's Mr. Ambassador, and that goes to Nathan Hunter. And the new Mr. Cardinal is Justin Mendoza, who has his twin brother, who is the second runner-up, Jason Mendoza, identical. This is one of my favorite events, as it really showcases the amazing talent that the city of San Bernardino has. Please come and join Option House Incorporated as they host their 14th annual 10K Walkathon. This event is taking place on Saturday, May 6th at 8 a.m. The walk begins and ends at the corner of 5th Street and Arrowhead Avenue, followed by an awareness rally, drawings, refreshments, music, and a children's fun zone. For information, you can call 909-383-1602. I would like to announce that the City of San Bernardino and the Suavecitos Car Club will be hosting Cinco de Mayo celebration on Saturday, May 6th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Placita Park. There will be entertainment, a car show, and vendors. For more information, you can call 909-384-5332. All proceeds will go to the Veterans Day Salute event, which is hosted by the First Ward on an annual basis. And lastly, I would like to thank Mitch Cochran, are you out there? I can't see you. Wave. I want to thank you for your job as the Master of Ceremonies for the San Bernardino Hometown Military Banner Rollout. This program has certainly evolved into something that I never knew would evolve to, and it was great to see all the 9 young men and women that will be, their banners will be out in the community hopefully in the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. I would also like to announce the Mayor's Freeway Jazz Festival that will be held April 23rd, 2017, from 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. That will be held at Jerry Eves Park at 1485 North Ayala Drive in Rialto. For more information, you can contact 909-278-5860. And if you would like to purchase tickets, you can see the Mayor's office for those. Also, I'd like to announce that on April the 28th, the State of the City will once again be held at the San Bernardino International Airport at 105 North Leland Norton Way. That'll be Friday, April the 28th. The reception will begin at 5 p.m. The program will begin at 6 p.m. and conclude at 7 p.m. City Attorney, do you have anything to announce?
No, I don't, Mayor.
City Manager?
I have a couple of things I'd like to bring up. The mayor just made an announcement about, is it called the Mayor's Jazz Festival, which is on Sunday. So art night and art day, and then the next day is the jazz festival. As Mayor said, we've got 250 tickets, and each city is being asked to sell 250 tickets. It's an expensive ticket, $75 ticket. It's for a good cause. It's Greg Bell's got I forget the name of it, for the youth program.
Athletes for Life.
Athletes for Life. He's a former NFL player, and the 4 cities are supporting that. We haven't bought any of those tickets from the city, and I believe some of the other cities probably are doing that. So if we need to, we may look at buying some part of that inventory and distributing the tickets. And I can't ask you for a vote on that, but I want to tell you that rather than turning back in 242 tickets or whatever we would be left with, I think it's worth trying to do our share, so we may look at that. That was one item. The other item I wanted to bring up is the next time I meet with each of you, a couple of you I've already done this with, but on the capital improvement budgets, I want to go over with each of you the projects that are scheduled for next year in your wards to make sure we've got the right priorities placed on the right projects. We can't always do a project anytime. Sometimes you have to wait to do a street project till after a sewer project, for instance. But many times we'll be able to prioritize, and so I need your input on that because we'll be ready to present that plan here very shortly, and I do need to get your inputs on that. This budget obviously is tough. We've covered that before, but the state telling us that we're going to receive something in excess of $3.5 million a year for street projects is incredibly good news for us. Our residential streets, as Mr. Valdivia just was referring, have not been scheduled for much work because first you try to deal with those major arterial streets that have the bulk of the traffic, and you can see the condition our streets have gotten into. We have somewhere in excess of we have 193 miles of 150 some miles of arterial streets and 693 miles total of streets. So you can tell the non-arterial streets is a huge part of what we've got. If we had $3.5 million a year for 10 years, it might make a significant impact on what we have to do. Without it, we're in real trouble. So like other cities in California, this news is really good news. So it actually encourages me to get the input from all of you as to what the priorities are. So I'll appreciate that input.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome back our city clerk. Glad to have you back. Do you have any announcements? Thank you. We would like to adjourn this meeting in memory of Mrs. Karen Smith and John Martinez, victims of the North Park Elementary tragedy this past Monday. The next regular meeting of the council will be held at 2 p.m. Monday, May the 1st, here in the council chambers. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening. Drive safe.
In practice, we usually pepper first, and then we always do serving, and we always do receiving. And for my position as a setter, I work on setting all the time because I'm a setter, and it's really important for me to always get reps in every practice. It's difficult being a setter because the ball, you always have to get to the ball, and sometimes when you don't get a perfect pass, it might be hard to set the perfect set.